Hey guys, happy fall. This video I'm taking you through this psychedelic little gouache painting, and I also wanted just to update you on all the happenings of fall. So yeah, let's get started. This little gouache painting is done on a 6x8 piece of bee paper. Bee paper is 140 pounds and 100% cotton, at least this version. I don't know if they come in others. I cut off like about an inch strip off of one side, and I like to have my finished pieces be frameable, so I have it taped off to make a 5x7 active area. I just think it looks really nice and it makes it easier to deal with. The paints I'm using here are the Gouache, the classic 15 gouache studio sets that I have reviewed before if you're interested, and two tubes from the Arteza set, which I have also reviewed in another video. The brushes I'm using today are the Cotman from Winsor & Newton in size 0, 1, 6, and 8, and the Royal Aquilon in a size 3. These are all rounds. I find that with watercolor and gouache, I pretty much only use rounds. There are a bunch of other shapes you can use, but those are the ones that I tend to gravitate towards. They are workhorses, and I just prefer them, and it makes it easy. Links to all the art supplies used are down in the description as always, and they are affiliate links, so if you have any interest in checking them out, I would greatly appreciate it if you use those links, if it was something you're going to buy anyways. So fall is one of my favorite times of year. My birthday is in May, and exactly 6 months later is Halloween, so it kind of is natural for me to love it a lot. It is, both seasons are transitional seasons, and I really like the cooler weather, the beautiful colors, that transitional time. So spring and fall are my favorites. I live in El Paso, Texas, so it's still really, really hot either time of year, but you can already start to feel things cooling down a little bit. At the time of this recording, today's high is 91 degrees still, which is awful. I don't like the heat, but I'll shut up and be grateful. The nights are starting to cool off, which I am super happy about. I love sweater weather and pumpkin spice and getting to wear boots, and just, it's wonderful. I hate sweating, so this is starting to get better. So big updates for my personal fall with October just around the corner. I've already mentioned it before, but Inktober is coming up, and I'm going to try to do that as much as possible. If you don't know what Inktober is, you can check out the video on art challenges, but in brief, it was started in 2009 by an illustrator named Jake Parker. It is a month-long celebration of inked art. He puts up every year a list of 31 prompts, one per day, and the idea is you illustrate it, you practice, you get better at your craft, and you hashtag, you share, you join a community. It's a great time to get a little bit of exposure while also engaging in a larger community who's doing the same type of stuff. A lot of other artists put out their own lists, especially in October, so you don't have to go with the Inktober list. The Inktober list is nice though because he purposely chooses them to be a little bit open and vague. They're not necessarily stuff you have to do for Halloween, even though it falls in October, and there's lots of interpretations. I've seen a lot of people take them to where they have an underlying theme, and they use the prompts to illustrate things within their personal theme, and I think that's totally awesome. A very smart way to do it, and a great way to not burn out, and to be able to use those pieces for stuff beyond the month of October of that year. So I would like to get started. The list has been up since the beginning of September, and I had plans of at least making thumbnails of the pieces that I planned to make, but I have procrastinated on that because there's like a lot of other things going on, and it's kind of an excuse and not a very good one, but I have been busy anyway, so I won't be too hard on myself for not getting to that. I will do what I can with Inktober. To be honest, I have never finished it 100%. Not the official Inktober. I've completed other art challenges, but Inktober, yeah, I've never gone all the way through. And I'm kind of a rebel, so even when I have the intentions of doing it, like the last year that I really, really tried to go gung-ho on it, I didn't even stick to one list. I wrote down columns on a page of, I think it was 2 or 3 lists, of the ones that interested me, and every day I would just pick one from the column that spoke to me. So I had a mix of illustrations from different art challenges. And that was fun. It kept me going a little bit longer, I think, and it was very interesting. Okay, so what else is going on? Chalk the Block is coming up, and in my hometown of El Paso, Texas, if you don't know what that is, I wouldn't expect you to if you're not from here. It is a yearly event that we do, and this is going to be the 12th annual iteration of that. It is the largest 3-day public art event in the Southwest. So it's a free family event where they have artists from all disciplines and various areas. They say it's like around 200. They come together to create a very art-centric experience downtown. They block off parts and make it walking only, and they focus a lot on making a very immersive art wonderland, if you will. So it is not just visual arts. They do have murals and a lot of visual art things going on, but there's also dance and theater and music and food, and they have a bunch of local vendors selling whatever it is they sell, from their artisan crafts to foods, all sorts of things. So it's a really fun time of year, and I have participated in it once before as an artist in the juried sidewalk art competition that they hold, because I mean obviously the name is Chalk the Block, so a big part of it is having artists do chalk on the sidewalks. And I think a lot of cities do something similar. I don't know how they usually run it, but here you have to apply to get accepted. You submit ideas for your illustration, you get selected, and then you have to reproduce that piece. And then it is judged, and there are prizes for different categories. So I'm going to do that again this year, and that's coming up very soon. It's about 2 weeks away, and I'm very excited. The first time I tried it was back in 2017. And back then, it happened to land in the same month of my opening of my first solo art show at a local art gallery downtown. So that was very convenient. The piece I had chose to recreate in chalk was one of the paintings from the gallery exhibit. Yeah, there was a bit of a tie-in there. It was a lot harder than I expected. I had no idea what it would be like to work in chalk, let alone that big. The area that we were given was 10 feet by 5 feet, and I had 1 to 2 helpers depending on the time. It was spread out over 2 days, a couple hours Friday night, and then a few hours on Saturday, and you had to be done by like 2 p.m. So I didn't have both helpers both days, but I don't think I could have managed to get it done without them, so big thank you to them. This year I have one of those helpers coming along again, and I have done a little bit of research and practice, so I can refine my technique and hopefully get it done with a lot more success. On top of that, it was a lot more physically demanding than I had ever expected. I don't think I've ever had my entire body hurt so much after doing an activity, but that whole weekend was like awful on my body. So I didn't do it last year because of that. I thought it was a lot, and I wasn't sure I wanted to try that again. But for some reason, I decided to sign up last minute this year, and I'm glad I did. I got selected. I think part of the reason why I wanted to do it was because if you have any idea of some of the world news, you know that in August, El Paso was a victim of hate crimes and mass shooting, and I just felt the need to participate in a very community-based event. I also recently participated. I was on a committee to put together a silent art auction and fundraiser for a local shelter for elderly women, and that happened recently. I think it went really well, considering it was their first one, and we got rained out, so people still showed up, art was still sold, money was raised, it was good stuff. But I have been a little inactive before that as far as doing volunteer work and the things I've always liked or wanted to do, so I'm trying to fit more of that into my life when I can. I've always donated art to causes like that, or some of the proceeds of certain pieces of art that I've sold to stuff like that, but I don't feel like it's enough. I want to do more, so I'm trying to participate a little bit more actively in my community. Coming up is also the El Paso Wine Fest, and there is a group art exhibit in conjunction with that. I will be submitting a painting, a 16 by 20 acrylic painting for that, and I am still working on that. I think it's due in like a week or two, so I need to hurry up. October, November also mean a lot of vending opportunities for me, because as we get closer to Christmas and Halloween in general, there are a lot of different markets and things that I like to do. I'll be vending in El Paso at a few of these local events, and if you are in El Paso, you can see what's happening by connecting with me on any of the online locations like Facebook, Instagram, or my website. Of course, if you go to my website, you can also sign up for the monthly newsletter, which will have all the dates and stuff of things I'll be going to. And I won't spam you. I'm very bad about sending out the email anyways, so you'll probably only hear from me 1 to 2 times a month max. If you're not local, you can still snag some of my art or merchandise on the store website, ashtonkaylee.com. I recently remade the website and I really like it, but I looked at it on a mobile phone, and as you know, websites kind of changed then, and there's some rollovers that work really well on a desktop that don't translate very well to the mobile phone, so I'll probably be doing some tweaks very soon, and even adding a specific area, either a page or a part on the homepage that will have list of events and news items. With Halloween, of course, comes costumes, and I love doing costumes. I'm contemplating still what I'm going to dress up this year, and I have honestly been thinking about it all year long, since last Halloween, and I don't have any solid plans. We might end up just handing out candy again, or I might do one of the vending things on that day. I'm not really sure, haven't decided yet. But if we just end up being home, I'm still going to dress up. That's what I did last year. Both my husband and I dressed up and took turns handing out the candy, or both going to the door. So yeah, I will be dressing up regardless. We do have one idea of what we can dress up as a couple, but it's going to take some work, and I haven't started yet on that either. Big surprise. So favorite past costumes, do you guys have any? I would love to hear what you guys have done, what you've liked, and if you have pictures, of course, love sharing them. One of the things I've always wanted to do that still haven't done, I haven't got to dress up as anyone from the movie Beetlejuice. That's not the idea I had with my husband, but I would still like to do that at some point or another. And some Halloweens I'm able to bust out multiple costumes because different parties, different events. I don't know if I have the time to do all that. I have to prioritize some of the work that I'm doing. I'll squeeze it in where I can. I definitely will dress up at least once. I have found that one of the things I've dressed up as a lot over the years has been vampires since I was little. I recently posted on Instagram an illustration of a vampire I just did, and because they are one of my favorite dark creatures, mythological or not, I've always had a thing for them, so I have dressed up as them a lot. And witches. I think those are the two most common costumes I've done over the course of my life, either a vampire or a witch. And if you know me, it makes a lot of sense. And if you were cursed to be any dark creature, I think for me personally, I wouldn't mind so much being a vampire. A lot of people think no because they would get lonely surviving all those years, but no, I have hobbies, I have goals, and there's a lot of things I think I could fill time with. And I know it's like a little bit romanticized, but I can dream. So that's my busy October going into November. Lots and lots of arts to be made and shared, so I hope you follow along. And thanks for joining me on this peculiar little psychedelic painting. It was fun, and I just needed to do something that wasn't required of me. I feel like so many of the things I've had to do lately are because I really had to do them, whether they be work-related, commission work, deadline-based stuff. So I just needed a little break, and I felt like doing this little idea that was actually in my sketchbook not too long ago. Thanks for watching, guys. Happy fall, happy painting. Hope to see you guys around.